Hey guys, we shall wait for some time and see when people sign in. I'm gonna call Shashank. Hello. Hey guys. Hey Gaurav, good to see you, man. Hello Yashish. Hey guys. Ashok ji. Hello. Hi Vijay. Hey guys. Hey. Hey. Rene, good to see you. Hey Vignesh, good evening. We'll just wait for some time, guys, and we'll let Shashank join in. We are going to talk about birds today, something very fascinating, something that got me onto wildlife and photography also. And Shashank is a good friend. We've been good friends for good 14, 15 years now. I've been traveling with him multiple times. Hi, hey Sheila, hey Shuja, hi Vibhavri, hey guys. Let's just be there for a minute or so till Shashank comes in, and then I'll rope him in and I'll ask, hello Dilip sir, good to see you. Suresh sir, hey Shashwat, hi guys. Thank you so much for joining in, guys. We'll keep it interactive. I have set of questions to ask Shashank, and I'll see as much that I can ask him. I am going to turn off the comments later because it's a little annoying when the person is talking and the questions keep coming. So I'll open up the comment section at the end so that we can take more questions. Yeah, but it's an open session about anything and everything about birds that we want to talk about. Yeah. Hi guys. Hi. Hello, all of you all. It's nice to see so many of you all signing in. Hi, Abhishek. Hello. So, I'll quickly give a brief about Shashank. If Shashank is hearing, he'll quickly sign in after that. So, Shashank is a young boy. He's just 35, 36 year old, much younger to me, and he's been birding for a long time, and he's one of the top birders in our country, and he's seen 1200 plus species of birds, which is phenomenal. And he is a MSc student, which means he's done a master's in wildlife, and his dissertation was on birds. And we'll try to see if we can talk about those things with him. We'll rope him in and we'll start the chit chat. Yeah, I'll just wait for Shashank to send me a request if he's there. Hey Shashank, please send me a request to sign in on this, then I can add you up, please, if you can listen to me. I'll just wait for Shashank, guys, before I see him here. Shashank, if you're there, please send me a request to add you. Or shall I try to add you myself? Please. I still don't see your request. You'll have to put it off and put it on again, Shashank. Go live with Shashank. Let me add Shashank myself. Yeah. Let's see if this works. I've sent him a request, and he should be signing in soon. So if you have any questions, as I said earlier, hey, Shashank, good to see you, man.
Hi everyone.
Good. So we have almost 150 odd people signing in now. So Shashank, good to see
Okay,
you here. We'll give it a minute
same
before
here.
we start. Till then,
Uh,
thank you so much. I hear you are in one remote place in the country, chilling and enjoying a lot of stuff. Huh? Where are you now?
Not really remote though. It's very much accessible.
Okay.
But I guess thanks to COVID, the access is restricted. So I'm pretty
Right.
happy right now.
Right. So, guys, Shashank is from Bombay and he is now cocooned in a lovely place up in the hills, in the Anamalai hills in Tamil Nadu. He's chilling, he's looking at frogs and birds and whatnot. So, while we suffer here, I'm sitting in Bangalore. 4.5 months, I've not moved out of my house. But good to see you, Shashank. Thank you so much for joining in. What I'll do, guys, I shall try to put the comment section off because it is going to be painful. I am just trying to see where do I get the comment section off. If anyone knows, let me know, and I will be able to put it off so that we do not get bothered by it. Sorry, guys. I don't really know. If anyone can tell me how do I put the comment section off, guys? Anyone who can tell me? No one knows. If people are not going to tell me how, I will let it be.
Okay. Even I can't figure out.
Okay, so rare, so rare, so rare. Turn off commenting. Done. It's just you and
Okay.
me now.
Awesome.
People who are listening to us, very sorry to have turned off the comment section as of now. I will take in the
Mhm.
comments after half an hour. We'll keep it open for 45 minutes, 50 minutes at best, and we'll
Sure.
try to open up
Sounds good.
comments and let people ask genuine questions, Shashank. Yeah. So thank you again, Shashank. Thank you so much for coming in. Tell us, man. Tell us
Thanks again for inviting me.
how did you get into birds,
Mhm.
Shashank? How did birds excite you?
Uh, Not just birds, like overall, I got interested in wildlife when I was really young.
Right.
So I think I was in 4 year old when my grandfather gave me a book on Indian animals,
Okay.
which had everything. Which had like from tigers, leopards to elephants to snakes to king cobras, everything
Wow.
basically.
Ha.
And I literally like it was like a fascinating thing. So I had like, by hearted that book in no time.
Right.
And I think it was in third standard when I was in, when my class teacher asked me
Mm-hmm.
to write. So he asked everyone to write an essay about your favorite animal.
Mm.
So people wrote about dog, cat,
Right.
parrot, this,
Right.
that, this, that.
Right.
And I was the only one in the class who went with uh, essay on elephant.
Oh, is it?
And
uh,
and just to, and the teacher was completely flipped because it was not just about elephant.
right.
I managed to write about gestation period of elephant in that
Whoa.
essay.
Wow.
So, but I think in the same year I started keeping notes on some of the birds. Like for
Right.
example, there was a nice uh, curry leaf tree in my parapet,
Right.
and it was a kind of strong curry leaf tree.
Right.
So a crow built a nest, house crow built a nest on that.
Correct.
And I remember keeping notes on when the first egg was laid and when it was hatched and all that kind of stuff.
Correct.
But I guess the first serious in terms of going after looking for species kind of stuff happened when I was in seventh.
Right.
So one rare-winded bulbul entered my house,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't around,
Right.
and it must have been someone's pet.
Okay.
So my granny was there, and the bird came and sat on her shoulder
Oh.
and started feeding on pohas from her
Wow.
dish.
Uh,
And she had no idea what to do with this bird, so
right.
she managed to keep it in. One of our neighbors had a cage, so
Right.
she kept the bird in that cage. And when I came back from school,
Hmm.
she showed me the bird, and my first reaction was, "Which bird is that?" I wanted to
Oh,
identify
wow.
that species.
Right.
So I managed to grab Common Indian Birds
Right.
by Dr. Salim Ali and Lake Fateh Ali
Right.
and identified that bird.
Hmm.
And then I later on realized that bird is everywhere. That
Right.
like same red bulbul
Correct.
as well.
Hmm.
And then I started. Okay, there are other birds which are also there in the book. So I
Right.
wanted to go and see those birds as well.
Correct.
And that's how the birding started.
Right, right. Nice. So how is it to see 1200 plus species? How difficult is it, or how many do you add every year now?
That's exhausting. Uh, but yeah, so I think it's still manageable to get about 1,000 species without taking a sweat. But once you
Yeah,
cross
right.
1,000 species, then it gets little difficult. You have to go and see these birds which are either in the remotest parts of the country
Right.
or those birds which are vagrant to the country. Vagrant, I will explain the term vagrant because
Sure.
that might
Please.
be a new term for everyone.
Right.
So there are some birds which may turn up in the country maybe once or twice in 100 years, 50 years, or
Okay.
something like that. So there are
Right.
birds which rarely turn up. Most
Right.
of these are migratory birds
Right.
which just land up in within Indian political limit. Birds don't have borders, but
Right.
we do, and then that's what we perceive the
Correct.
way they turn up
Right.
in our political border.
Correct.
So just to be on a funnier note, there are about 3 to 4 species of birds
Hmm.
which are actually found Pakistan occupied Kashmir,
Oh,
but
is
still
it?
in India's bird list.
Oh, is it?
There's one
Okay.
the one in Chinese occupied Ladakh as well.
Right.
So yeah, it's kind of funny.
Okay.
But it's been tough in last few years. About I think 2015 onward has been really tough.
Right.
I get to see about one or two new birds for the country every year.
Okay.
But but yeah, that's what has been
Right.
keeping
Right.
me busy because like it's still fun to go and watch the same birds again and again
True,
as
true,
well.
true, 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 true. Yeah, so cool, man. So, which is this? Tell me one or two birds that you think of, which are vagrants and come here every year, and So what would be the
So,
difference between vagrant and a migrant?
okay, so migrants are the birds which will come to the same area, same location, geographical location again and again.
Right.
So, for example, when we see, everyone knows about barn swallows because
Right.
barn swallows are the birds which people thought they are the one which show up when it's winter,
Okay.
and that's exactly the case where they every year they are. I can hear an echo for some reason. I don't know why, but
I
anyway.
don't know. I don't know.
So okay, so the birds are coming, so they come to the same spot again and again, and
Right.
that's something which makes a bird a regular winter migrant.
Okay.
But what happens when, let's say, a bird like there is a bird, very, very tiny bird
Mm-hmm.
called as Muga maki flycatcher, okay, which
Okay.
is there in the Southeast Asia,
Okay.
but rarely shows up. Maybe in Indian limits, it might turn up in Andaman and Nicobars,
Okay.
and that has been happening for the last few years.
It hasn't.
Or it has turned up in India
Okay.
in last few
Okay.
years. Or
Hmm.
similar thing with the yellow rump flycatcher, similar things with white and blue flycatcher. There are certain species which are showing up just maybe what I think first time in last 50 years, 100 years, and those are the ones which are vagrant.
Right.
Because migration is very fascinating. Birds just move thousands of kilometers, and some of them. One more thing which I can talk about vagrant is some of these vagrants are usually the first year birds.
Oh, okay.
The reason
Okay.
they are the first year birds because they are still trying to find their way to their wintering ground. They still
Right.
don't know.
Correct.
And vagrant birds may show up because of, let's say, a very harsh climate as well.
Right.
So let's say there is a very strong wind
Correct.
which blows them off their main usual migratory route,
Right.
and birds turn up in a place where they are not supposed to be.
Correct. Correct.
So that's again, so like recently the storm which devastated the east coast of India, there are so many birds which we technically not all pelagics are vagrant
Right.
because we don't really go and see them in the sea.
Exactly. Correct.
But there are certain species which showed inland.
Right.
So
That could be
in
because
Hooghly
of
River there are
that could be because of winds or something else.
winds,
Right.
something like that.
Right.
So you can imagine the same scenario, but for a species which are migrating long distances and get blown off their usual
Right.
direction or the
Right.
usual path.
Right. So, which was the
Those are
last
the vagrants.
very unusual vagrant that came to India? Very unusual that people say, boss, how did this end up here?
Oh, I wouldn't say vagrant to India. I can tell you about the recent one which showed up in the cyclone Fani, which hit the west coast of Mumbai.
Right.
And so there is one, I think it was a white-tailed tropic bird,
Okay.
which showed up in eastern Maharashtra.
Okay.
So it's supposed a pelagic bird.
Okay.
It's supposed to be in the sea all the
Right.
time.
Right.
And this bird shows up in almost center of the country.
Wow.
So, and it was sitting on it was completely lost. It was floating on a water body of a reservoir.
Oh shit. Poor
So,
thing. Wow.
yeah. So I think what usually happens when these cyclones turn up, these birds try and get into the eye of the cyclone because that's the
Correct.
calmest of the place
Correct.
which they can find.
Right.
And when the cyclone moves, they move along with the cyclone, and then they
Right.
land up in such kind of places, weird
Correct.
places.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
I would
Correct.
say that's one of the crazy bird which I don't know must have blown off
I know.
900
Poor
kilometers,
thing. Poor
if
thing.
not
I
more.
know. Yeah. I
Yeah,
wonder if it could manage to go back. No idea.
you never know. I won't be surprised if they
Correct.
can because
Correct.
they birds do have very good sense of direction.
Right.
So
Right.
I won't be surprised if the bird rests for a couple of days, gains
Correct.
its strength, and
Right.
then never know.
Correct, correct. So tell us about your dissertation, man. What was your master's on? You worked in the
Ah,
Northeast, which
yeah,
is
yeah.
anyways a very, very unique
My favorite
place.
place.
Yeah, it's an absolutely unique place. How many species of birds are found only in the Northeast?
Yeah, easily more than two-thirds of India's bird species.
Whoa, yeah, awesome. Right.
So about 800, 850, 900 species
My
of birds
God.
which are only found in that
Right,
one area.
right,
So basically, that also I would talk about. I think it could be because of the location where the Northeast is.
right,
So Northeast has Himalayas in north,
right,
the South Assam is there,
right,
but more than that, there are plains of Assam which has influence from mainland India. There are elements which are from birds which have come in from Southeast Asia.
correct.
Then north of Himalayas there is a Palearctic region. So it's
Okay,
like a junction of all three
Geographical.
geographically distant
Correct.
areas.
Right. Right.
And because of that influence, there are so many species of birds which are found in Northeast.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so obviously I wanted to work in Northeast for dissertation.
Right.
And I thought like as the theme, as I said, the geographical geography can play an important role in birds, why
Correct.
birds are there.
Right.
So, so I wanted to, so that always fascinated me.
Hmm.
So I looked at this role of a river, Brahmaputra River, so
Okay.
which is a mighty Brahmaputra which flows down, which enters in which is called as Siam River,
Right. From
which
China.
cuts across Siam district of Arunachal, comes across Assam, and then goes down towards West Bengal and like
Correct.
basically Bangladesh and Bay of Bengal.
Right.
But I wanted to see how that river has impacted birds' distribution and
Okay.
why the birds are there and how different they are there on either side of the river. So
Okay.
that's what I wanted to look at.
Right.
And for that, what I did, I had three study sites.
Right.
So the first study site was, let me try and
Sure.
reverse the order so you guys can actually figure out.
Sure.
So let's say this is where Eagle Nest is.
Right.
This is where Mitmi Hills is.
Okay.
And there is the entire northeast comes down like this, and
Right.
then Nagaland is right over here.
Right. Right.
So what has happened in last? So if you look at these geographical areas, and just to give you an idea, the distance between Eagle Nest and Nagaland
Right.
is about 240 kilometers. The
240.
distance between
Straight line. Cross
240
line.
straight line.
Correct.
240, 260 odd kilometers.
Okay.
If you look at distance between Eagle Nest and Mishmi is about 360 kilometers.
Okay. So just to give a
And
perspective to people, guys, Eagle Nest is a wildlife sanctuary in Arunachal Pradesh in Northeast,
yes,
and Mishmi Hills is another forest area in Arunachal Pradesh in Northeast. But Mishmi Hills is to the eastern part of Arunachal, and Eagle Nest is to the western part of Arunachal. And Nagaland, I'm assuming you worked in Konoma area.
Konoma,
Right,
yes.
Konoma in Nagaland is almost straight line down from Eagle Nest. So he's actually worked on a triangle. Is that correct?
Right.
Right. So
Correct.
Mishmi Hills
And two sides of the
and the
triangles
river
are
cuts
almost
across through like this.
correct. So river cuts across just west of Mishmi Hills,
Right.
comes down like this,
Right.
and so there are two sides where south of the river,
Right,
this is the
right.
river. So
Correct.
Mishmi was somewhere here,
And
Nagaland was somewhere here,
correct.
and Eagle Nest was
on
somewhere
top.
here.
Right. So
Yeah.
two parts are
So
south of Brahmaputra River, and
the
one
river,
part is to the north. Right.
not.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, when you look at a river like this
Hmm.
and these locations, what we think that birds, oh, they have wings, they can fly anywhere.
Correct.
So the idea was the distance where the Eagle Nest and the Konoma is
Right.
the closest.
Right.
That's why the birds should be similar there.
Correct.
Similar in the sense, what happens? Let's say if we take everyone has DNA, right? And the way you look at DNA, the genetic structure of an individual, so you as a species can be different from different parts. So like let's say there might be a minor difference between let's say from humans
Correct.
from India against chimpanzees from Africa or
Correct.
different species. Similarly, the birds
Right.
can have a different genetic structure depending on different species
Correct.
or different populations.
Correct.
So what I did, I looked at the same species found in all three locations.
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked at how different they are because of their DNA.
Okay. Okay.
So I collected DNA from these birds,
Right.
went back to the lab,
Hmm.
figured out how the DNA looks like
Okay.
of every different place of
Right.
the same species,
Right.
and looked at how different or similar they are.
Correct.
So if the DNA is similar, that means the birds are moving between the places.
Correct. Correct.
But if the birds cannot move between these populations,
Right.
then the
Very
DNA
different.
they start changing
Oh,
basically,
okay. Right.
and it's a process of thousands and millions of years, not like overnight
Right.
thing.
Right.
So I looked at if the Eagle Nest and Nagaland are closest,
Right.
then they should have similar DNA,
Correct. Just 240 kilometers.
and
You're saying.
240 kilometers,
Right.
right? And if the Eagle Nest and Mishmi are the furthest, the DNA should be different. That's how
Correct.
because the distance is more, right?
Right. Right.
But when I looked at it, I realized there are certain species where the DNA was very different between Eagle Nest and Nagaland rather than Eagle Nest and Mishmi.
Oh, is it? Okay. Wow.
So So that happened because some of the birds, all birds have different kind of properties. Like for example, some birds
Right.
are very strong flyers,
Strong
like
flyers.
warblers, strong flyers. So
Okay.
warblers
Right.
or flycatchers, they can fly long distances.
Okay.
But on the other hand, babblers, like there are lots of birds like pulvetas, laughing thrushes.
Right.
These are the birds which are binglas. They're very weak flyers. They can't
Okay.
really.
Oh,
So there
okay.
are certain studies that show some of the birds can't even cross the understory bird. Can't even cross a 200-meter width
What are you
between
saying?
the forest patches.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
There are examples when millas have dropped into the lake and died because they could not cross the lake.
Oh God. Wow.
So, so all those funny things can happen
Right.
for certain birds.
Right.
So the birds between Nagaland and Eagle Nest, even though they were closest among these three
Correct.
locations,
Correct.
the babbler showed the maximum amount of difference between genetic structure.
So
So,
it's safe to presume that it is because of the Brahmaputra River.
and the plains of Assam. So the birds
Right.
are there in the mountain. So
Okay.
let's say this is one mountain, this is the north of the river, and
Right.
this is south of the river here.
Correct.
So the bird has to come from this mountain to this mountain, this one in the middle elevation, has to come all the way
Way
down,
down. Right.
cross the river,
Right.
then go back up.
Ah.
But some of these birds are restricted not only because of their weak flying ability,
Correct.
but also because of the distribution which is there in the mountain top.
Right. Right.
So they can't really come down all the way.
Correct. Correct.
So
Wow.
these birds are restricted only in the top of the mountain or mid of the mountain somewhere.
Right. Right.
And
So
that's what
So I have a
I look
question.
at.
When you say mid-elevation birds, I'm sure a lot of people do not understand what is a mid-elevation bird, what is a low-elevation bird, what is a high-elevation
Ah.
bird.
Okay. So imagine a mountain. The birds are distributed uh, in certain parts of the mountain. Some birds are distributed across the mountain.
Correct. Correct.
So depending on the species and depending on the kind of habitat which is present on the mountain
Right.
or where the birds can stay, the birds are distributed in certain part of the mountain. So
Correct.
there are certain species. So if you look at a mountain, you'll always find, like let's say some of you guys might have been to Eagle Nest or something like
Right.
that,
Right.
and you might have seen somewhere in the mid elevation, the between area between 1,000 meters to 2,000 meters,
Right.
there are most number of species which one can see.
Oh.
The reason behind that is because of the mountain, and mountains have all these folds.
Correct.
The surface area of mid elevations of the mountain
Is much
is
longer.
more.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
And because the surface area is more, there are more number of species which are present because they have more area to live in.
Exactly. Yeah. And more food.
More food, exactly. So more area, more food, and more number of species.
Correct.
So the mid elevation is the hot property.
Right.
When I would say like it's like the place where birds wants to go and live.
Right. Right.
And just to give you an idea, what is been happening in last few years and what is going to happen in next few decades is the climate change.
Right.
Because lots of species from low elevations have started moving up.
Oh,
Because
right.
things are mountains, the climate is getting warmer and warmer.
Correct. Correct.
So the what thing which restricts them from going from top is the
Correct.
temperature.
It's the
And as
temperature.
the temperature is increasing
Correct.
over the years, every year basically,
Right. Right.
the birds have started moving up, and this is what has been happening
Oh God.
in India as well.
Is it? Wow.
Not just
Have you
yeah, it's
seen
not
something very
it's not-
unique in the recent past where you were surprised with the bird being in a different elevation than it was supposed to be?
So basically, this last December, I was speaking to Umesh. Umesh is a very good friend, and he's been working on Eagle Nest birds for all these years.
Right.
And I was like chatting with him and telling him, "Oh, earlier I used to see blight Cladopine around Gompu
Correct.
and just above. Now
Correct.
I'm getting to see blight Cladopine and Sundarview.
What are you
I
saying?
used to see,
Wow.
yeah.
Is it?
I was telling him that white-tailed robin used to be more common around Chesley Camp, about
Correct.
2,000,
Yeah.
1,200 meters,
Correct.
1,500 meters.
Correct.
Now I'm getting to see it every year above Gompu,
Right.
which is 2,000 meters
Wow.
in elevation. So black-throated parrots, which used to be very common around Gompu, I'm getting them more and more at high elevation. And then he showed me his data which he has collected in the last 9 years.
Correct.
And it was fascinating because all these birds are slowly moving up.
Right.
And they're not only moving up, but some of the birds, as So basically, what may happen is this is mountain.
Right.
Certain birds are there in this elevation,
Correct.
and certain birds are slightly lower.
Right.
So when they
Right.
move high elevation, they will try and push these birds up.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Correct. Obviously.
And because they start pushing these birds up,
Hmm.
these birds may respond in two ways. Either they will just go locally extinct,
Right.
or they'll start moving up.
Moving up.
And and his study shows that the birds have dropped in their weight.
Hmm.
They
Oh
have lost
God.
their weight.
Is it? Wow.
Populations have lost their weight.
Right.
And populations are so. If you look at eagle nest,
Right.
the mountain goes up, and again there is a slightly flattish elevation. And what will happen when these birds go to flat elevation? They cannot survive there,
Right. Right.
and
Correct.
that's like a local extinction for some of these birds.
Oh God. Wow.
So,
Wow.
so we are actually facing all these problems in coming
Right.
future.
But some birds, like you just now said, that there are certain birds which live in a certain elevation, but there are some birds that will go up and down the elevation, right? Like the goosander. Goosander would go all the way up and it will come down also, right?
Correct.
So there would be some birds
But
which will.
that's a elevational migration between seasons. So
Okay.
basically, you have to look at how many times of the month of the year. Those months in summer months, the goosander is spending time at what elevation, and
Right.
winter it's spending at what elevation.
Correct.
And average that elevational range is going up
Okay. Okay.
every year or not.
Right. Right.
So birds may come go up and down,
Correct.
but every year, let's say a black-tailed parrot will, let's say, no, that's not a white-tailed robin, which comes all the way to lower elevation
Correct.
and goes back up to 1,000. Used to go to 1,500 meters.
Right.
Is now it's heading up to 2,000 meters, 2,100 meters.
Right.
So that's the average change of the elevational gain
Correct. Correct.
where the birds go and breed.
Right.
That range itself is changing.
Right. Right.
So that's where
So why do some birds migrate and some don't, Shashank?
So the simplest way to put it is like it's availability of food.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to stay in a place where I can actually get to eat lot many things,
Right.
and I can spend time in a nicer weather.
Right.
And that's what happens. So birds can actually withstand cold weather because their feathers are insulators.
Right.
But what triggers them is the availability of food. If because of weather the availability of food goes down,
Drops. Right.
then the birds which actually can find food in such kind of weather will stay back. But
Right.
the birds which cannot will try and move to the areas where there is food.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
the simplest way to put it.
Okay. So for people to know, Shashank has worked on this phenomenal project on Amur Falcons in 2012. Is that right? Yeah. Where Shashank and some of his friends were exploring a place in northeast India, and they chanced upon a massive reservoir, and people were hunting Amur Falcons in massive numbers, and that is when they realized that it's one of the hubs of the peak migration coming in of Amur Falcons, and these guys were just hunting it. And thankfully to Shashank and the team who they made a massive hue and cry about it, and it was a massive campaign throughout the world, and eventually they did convince a lot of villagers to stop hunting, and it's a safe haven now, and there is no hunting happening in that area. So tell us about that story, Shashank. Why do Amur Falcons travel? Where do they come from? Why do they come to Nagaland? All of that, please. Yeah, quickly.
So, okay. So basically, Amur Falcon is a bird which breeds all the way from Mongolia to Japan.
Okay.
So when you look at the entire distribution or breeding distribution, it's very wide distribution.
Okay.
But its entire population winters in South Africa or in Africa.
Entire population.
Entire population.
Wow.
So basically, let's say on an average, Amur Falcon flies 22,000 kilometers to back and forth.
Wow.
Basically. Every year.
Right.
Single bird.
Correct.
Okay, so it's amazing. And the way to do it is, now imagine if you draw a straight line between Mongolia and South Africa, it will be like something like
this. Across India.
Cuts across.
Correct.
Cuts across India. But these birds are so smart. They actually travel along the eastern side of Tibetan Plateau.
Okay.
Because Tibetan Plateau, they won't get anything to eat.
Correct. Exactly. Right.
Okay. And what we did, we actually looked at where the Amur Falcons are coming into the country.
Right. Right.
And in Northeast India, they are trying to avoid main Himalayas. They do cross main Himalayas as well.
Wow. Okay.
But what they do is a smart thing. They come down, they go eastern part of these Himalayas
Right.
and cut across from South Assam hills.
Correct.
The South Assam hills, on an average, are much lower in elevation.
Ah, right.
So they don't really have to go from high elevation 4,000 meter passes
Correct.
to enter
Correct.
India.
Correct.
And so they are entering from these Mizoram, Nagaland,
Right.
Manipur,
Right.
and the easternmost part of Northeast, and
Wow.
that's where they're entering.
Correct.
So once they enter,
Hmm.
they what they do is they fatten up.
Okay. So they feed
They
as much
want
as
to
possible.
as much as possible
Yeah.
because they have crossed the eastern side of Tibetan Plateau. They're
Correct.
super hungry,
Correct.
so they will try and feed as many. And Amur Falcon, even though it's a falcon, it
Right.
feeds on insects.
Oh, okay. That's exactly what I was going to ask. So the point is, it's a different thing that you want to feed so much. There has to be availability of food
Correct.
also, right? Because you
Yes.
would want to feed
Yes.
as much throughout the year.
Correct. But they literally they live on dragonflies
Okay.
and even in South Africa they have been feeding on caterpillars from crops.
Wow.
You
Okay.
will actually see Amur Falcon sitting on a corn
Correct.
and pulling out
My
pulling
God.
out caterpillars from it.
Wow. Wow.
It's crazy sight.
Right. So they put on
So
weight right up there.
they put on weight.
Right.
Correct.
And then they fly.
They gain weight about 30% of their body weight or something
Wow.
like that.
Wow. And
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is a
that's
span of
crazy.
what? 1 month, 2 months?
So it okay. I'll give you an example of Dr. Mayberg's research where he actually put up some satellite tags.
Right.
And before I get to that, I'll give you what exactly happened in
Sure.
Nagaland the day
Sure.
when we.
Sure.
So then you can put everything into context.
Right.
So it was Ramki, Bano, Roko, and me. Four of us went to Nagaland,
Right.
and this exact Doyang Reservoir because we heard these rumors that people hunt Amur falcons there, but we
Right.
had no idea
Correct.
the scale of the hunting.
Right.
So we went there,
Right.
and before we could see the live birds, we actually saw a lady carrying
Dead bird.
dead Amur
Oh
falcon.
God.
And within 40 minutes, she was back. She had sold off 60 Amur falcons,
Whoa.
and she
And
was
they were
going door
all
to door
dead
and
birds.
all dead birds that
So
time.
it's only for
So
food.
then, only for food. And then we actually went and we went to the exact spot where, and they were like there in thousands and thousands of birds were there.
My God.
And what the locals were doing there, they said set up these fishing nets
Right.
on the roof sides of Amur Falcon.
Oh,
So
on a tree where they
so
sleep.
the bird, yeah. So the birds used to leave these roosting areas
Right.
and they used to come back to the same roost every day after
Right.
feeding for a whole day.
Right.
And these are set up the fishing nets there where the birds used to get entangled every morning and every evening.
Oh God. Poor thing.
So what Roko and I did, I said like, let's go and document the whole thing.
Right.
And we went. I think this is, I would still say, hands down, the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life.
Right.
Because even though I was there, I was completely helpless.
Correct.
There were
Exactly.
thousands of birds getting slaughtered,
Yeah.
and I could not do anything about it.
Right.
So what we did that time was we took lots of videos, lots of photos.
Right.
We in fact designed a small study where we actually counted the number of birds getting entangled into different nets,
Right.
and then we figured out on an average in a single day there were 14 to 20,000 birds were getting killed
What
in
are
one
you
spot.
saying? My God. 14,000 birds every day.
Birds every day. And when we looked at that scale, we realized well, that's something we have to do.
Right.
And it was when the Banu's contribution comes into the picture because
Right.
she knew people and we used every possible way.
Right.
So next year, even the forest department was involved when they were working very hard. We set up eco clubs for the kids so they could actually go and educate
Right.
their
Correct.
parents.
Correct.
There was church got involved. So I think everyone,
Right.
because
Correct.
it was a huge cry about this entire scenario, like
Right.
this entire hunting
Correct.
fiasco across the world.
Hmm.
People wrote letters to the Nagaland government, to MOEF,
Right.
like which is the ministry which is responsible for wildlife in India,
Right.
and it was actually hurt Naga pride.
Right.
The Nagas themselves wanted to save Amur falcons next year,
Wow. Okay. Hmm.
and which actually helped. And
Right.
thanks to Bano, I would say like she was the key person when
Correct.
all these things happened.
Right.
So when this was happening, we got a mail from Dr. Mayberg.
Hmm.
saying that, okay, there is a Amur Falcon right now, which have satellite tag.
Hmm.
She's right now in Doyang.
Oh God.
Do you know if she's safe right now?
Correct.
And then we found out this fascinating story of this bird for 3 consecutive years.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah, so if I remember it correctly, on 2010, bird reached Doyang Reservoir on 4th of November,
Okay.
left 14th of November,
Right.
reached west coast of India on 24th of November,
In 10 days.
and in 10 days,
Okay.
and then in 3 days time,
Okay.
and once it reached the west coast of India,
Right.
it actually crossed the entire Arabian Sea
Right.
in 3 days non-stop flights, day and night
Man.
flights.
Ah.
Okay.
Hmm.
So next year, the same bird reached Doyang Reservoir in 2011 and 5th of November, left 15th of November,
Wow.
and 21st it was there in Somalia,
My
because
God.
they had to reach Somalia and
Right.
go down.
Oh, okay, 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 okay.
Third, in 2012, it reached on 6th of November, left 16th of
Shit.
November, and exactly on 22nd of November, she was there
In
in
Somalia.
Somalia.
My
So, like clockwork, the bird was reaching to the west coast in
Correct.
3 days' time,
Wow.
and in another 3 days' time, it was leaving the place. So,
Correct.
on an average, that one female spent about 10 days fattening up
Right.
in Doyang Reservoir in
Right.
Nagaland.
Right.
And once she fattened up, she actually moved to the west coast
My
in 3 days'
God.
time, and then next 3 days' time, she was in Africa.
Wow.
And that was actually amazing because Amur Falcons, by the time they reach to west coast of India, the northeast winds which are blowing,
Right.
which return monsoon winds,
So that'll help them.
and these are the tailwinds.
Right.
And
Right.
the tailwinds help them take all the way with a minimal amount of effort
Right.
from west coast of India to Africa. And
My
that's what
God.
actually is very fascinating,
Right.
the way they migrate.
Right.
So when migration birds use every possible help they get, wherever they can get to eat, they will go and eat.
Right.
And so the next year, 2013 onward, not a single bird has been killed in Doyang
Wow.
Reservoir
Awesome.
since then.
Is it?
And subsequent years, not only Doyang Reservoirs, people have different parts of Northeast India are now celebrating Amur festival when the Amur Falcons migrate.
Correct.
And places like in Manipur, in Mizoram,
Right.
they also have places where the Amur Falcon festivals are happening.
Right.
They have stopped Amur Falcon hunting,
Okay.
and which is actually one of the rare success stories of conservation from Northeast India when it comes to
Wow.
birds.
Wow. Yeah. It's so fascinating. No, it's always a matter of pride. I'm sure. It's super fun. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
for
we'll
sure.
take one or two more topics and then we'll switch on and ask people to ask us because it's just 15 more minutes to go. I had written
Wow.
down certain things. Yeah, we just got 15 more minutes to go. Imagine, the time flies like the Amur
Okay.
does. So, tell us
Sure.
about like very basic things. The difference between a parrot and a parakeet. Everyone wants to know what is the difference between a parrot and a parakeet.
Okay, so the simplest way to put it is not all. Not all parakeets are parrots, but not all parakeets. So basically, it's like that. Okay. So in India, we have mainly parakeets,
Right.
except vernal hanging parrots,
Correct.
which are really tiny. One thing you may notice, like this, parrots have very strong bill
Right.
and very strong legs compared to parakeets.
Okay.
The macaws, and let's say all these birds from Southeast Asia
Right.
and South America, they have very strong. You might have seen macaws climbing,
Correct.
pulling their entire body
With
weight,
the
like
help
someone is
of a
doing a
beak.
pull up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Correct.
And parakeets won't show such kind of things.
But why is a vernal hanger
So
parrot a parrot then? If it's such a small bird, do you think it's still strong bird in spite of it?
it's hanging parrot. That's the reason.
Right.
It hangs upside down.
Correct.
So they are strong.
Right.
And they, like, it's again a fascinating bird which is found in northeast of India.
And
It's found in Western Ghats,
correct.
in Andaman,
Oh, okay.
but missing from Western country. So,
Right. It's like the
yeah,
great
so very
hornbill,
funny.
which is found in the north and the Western Ghats, but not in the. Why
Not
would
in the
that
center.
be the reason, Shashank? Quickly, sorry.
Quickly, okay. So let's say it's you know go back into history,
Right.
and not only history, which is like few hundred years ago,
Right.
but thousands of years ago.
Correct.
So thousands of years ago, let's say about last ice age, which happened. When everyone's seen the ice age as a movie.
Yeah.
So when the ice age happened, the entire habitat changes across the country, across the global level.
Right.
And that's when the habitats get connected.
Correct.
So let's say the place where we see where Deccan Plateau is
Right.
may not have been dry grassland with scrubland forest.
Correct. Which
It
is in
may
central
have been
India.
a forested area. Correct.
Right.
But once the ice edge gets over, the monsoon takes over, certain areas are dry, certain areas are wet.
Right.
And now Western Ghats are now wet, Northeast is wet,
Right.
and the areas which existed in between are completely dry.
Correct. Correct.
And this is one of the many theories.
Yeah.
It's not just the theory,
Right.
but maybe just birds which already may have been existed in between
Correct.
have gone extinct now because of the climate has completely changed.
Right. Right. Awesome.
That could be the reason.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. Tell me one more last thing before I put it on. What is a mixed hunting flock, and how does it work? Does it work
Yeah.
across everything? Keep it short, please. I know I'm
Okay.
asking a complicated question and asking you.
Okay, mixed
giving
hunting
you a time
flock.
frame.
One of my favorite things to look into the forest because that's the easiest way to see as many species possible
Correct.
in a single go.
Let's.
So
I
basically,
want you to explain people what mixed hunting flock is. I know, but I want
correct.
you
So,
to
so
tell.
I'll come to that now. So basically, we all know safety is in numbers,
Right.
right? If there is a raptor and which is a bird of prey which is trying to catch you,
Correct.
as a bird, I know if I'm alone, I can't really feed and look out for a
Correct.
bird of prey which is
Correct.
behind me.
Correct.
But let's say if I'm in 100,
Right.
so I know, okay, if I am feeding, someone else is looking out for
Correct.
the
For the
bird,
predator.
the bird of prey,
Right.
predator.
Correct.
And that's what birds basically doing. The
Right.
multiple species, different species of birds
Right.
coming together in a single flock
Right.
and feeding.
Right.
And the feeding can be different. Like certain birds, like nuthatches, woodpeckers, can feed on a tree
On the
bark.
tree trunk. Yeah.
Small warblers can feed on leaves.
Right.
But flycatchers can actually go after the insects which are actually taken off from the barks and the leaves.
Correct.
And then there are birds like drongos who are a very smart bird, who are sentinel birds who can give alarm call when they see a predator.
Correct.
And they know, okay, fine, we are. So basically, it's a group strategy of birds with different species coming together
Right.
and avoiding predators.
So how
and
many species can come
having
together?
good meal.
Yeah, I know. And how many
Sorry?
species can come together for a mixed hunting?
In Northeast India, let's say about 20-25 species can come together in a single flock.
Wow. Guys, what we are
Hundreds
talking about,
species.
imagine, it's so fascinating. We are saying 20 species of birds come together. They create a
Yeah.
flock. They all go from one tree to other. Everyone takes different elevation of the tree, finishes of the tree with all kinds of insects, goes to the other
Yes.
one, and they all just, so there would be some leaders and some followers, right? Someone has to lead.
Yes,
Someone has to say, "Bus, I am going to do
Correct.
this," right?
So you will always find the birds which have the very nasal calls are the ones which are
Nasal call.
flock leaders.
That's me.
Nasal call. Like tit. Tit, for example,
Wow.
there are the tit are the perfect example. Sultan tit, if you're a eagle nest,
Right.
the best way to look out for beautiful nuthatch is not looking for beautiful nuthatch. It's looking out. Oh, if you hear a sultan tit, go look for a sultan tit.
Wow.
So sultan tit is leading a flock of mixed hunting flock, which will invariably eventually will have
A beautiful nuthatch also. Wow. Oh, that's
or
fascinating.
so white-browed striped babbler, or now it is
Correct.
the light striped babbler. So best way to do is to look for. I always love to find these flock leaders.
Right.
Follow those calls of those flock leaders, and which eventually will get you
I know.
20-25 species of birds in the
Wow.
end.
Awesome. And
Bird for 10 minutes, you're done.
I know, yeah. So you just have to be lucky at one place where all these birds will come. You see multiple species and then they fly on
Or
to the next one. Yeah.
you just hear a bird where it's calling from,
I know,
and then you
it's
just follow the
yeah,
call,
I
and
have
then you
seen
get
at
it.
the best 9-10 species. I've not even heard 25 species. I've seen a mixed hunting flock of 9-10 species in eagle nest many times, but I've not seen more than that. But that itself is fascinating because imagine seeing so
Another
many in
mixed
one
hunting
bird.
flock leader is another mixed hunting flock bird is rusty-fronted warning. Another bird with a very nasal call.
Oh, is it? Oh, wow.
So you see, that's like a theme of, like in peninsular India, you'll see great tit. Again, bird with a
Right.
nasal call, which is a flock leader.
Right.
So high pitched nasal calls are the key.
Right. Cool. Awesome, guys. I've put the comment section on. If you have any questions, please ask Shashank. I will try to read out those questions. And if you have any. Someone says, "Hi, Shashank." That's the question. That's
Hi.
the question. Yeah. So I will wait for questions to come in. If anyone has any, please ask. Shashank will be more than happy to. Otherwise, we'll close the session in the next 10 minutes, guys. Can we see around 25 species of birds in a mixed hunting flock in Western Ghats also? Someone's asking.
Yeah, yeah,
Anish
yeah,
is asking.
we
Anish
do.
Andheri is
I
asking.
mean,
I don't know if it's a
I'm
question
sure.
or he's telling me. Even in South
I'm sure it's a
Western
fact.
Ghats, I think he's telling us. But you can
Yeah,
still
yeah.
answer.
No, no, they do. So, especially if you are birding in the low or mid elevations in Western Ghats, you will
Correct.
definitely get to see plenty of,
Right.
like for example, there will be nuthatches, there will be minivets, there will be dark-funded babblers, and all three species which I just named are found in different parts of the tree.
Right. Right.
There will be drongos, there will be like you just name it, like
Correct. Right.
all these birds will come together.
Correct.
Fulveta, and that's what they do.
Sure.
So
Sure. Sure. Someone's asking.
these are like the usual suspects of mixed hunting flock in Western Ghats,
Right. Right.
and others will just occasionally join
Correct.
and form that thing.
Correct. Someone saying you were the most naughty student in Bhavans. Okay, fine. Thank you. We know that. So, Punar Dwivedi is asking how difficult is it to see Bugun Lal Sichla?
So okay, I'll give you a best
Quick
possible
answers.
way to
Quick
look for
answers. This is
Bugun.
like coffee with Karan.
Okay, so
Rapid.
go to Eagerness Wildlife Sanctuary, go to Lama Camp.
Yeah.
But before, if you want to see a Bugun Cikla next day morning, you may have to spend some time in the previous day evening.
Correct.
So what you should do, go to Alubari,
Right.
wait for birds to sing before they go to roost.
Exactly.
Then next day
Next day, you
morning,
just
see
before they
for
get up, you reach there.
before the get up, you go get
Exactly.
there, wait for birds to sing,
Correct.
and the first birds will come out of that bush will be Bugun Cikla.
Right. Right. Someone's
The
asking.
best way to find them.
Preetham's asking what is the exact time to visit Doyang Reservoir to see Amur Falcons, and is
Um,
photography allowed there now?
Yes, it's allowed. So basically, go there around 20th of October onwards, especially end of October and early November.
Correct.
So last week of October and first week of November, and you'll get to see Amur Falcons in lakhs.
Right. Right. Someone saying, how do you see the combination of naturalist and wildlife photographer in the same person? You are an inspiration, sir, for me. You, I'm assuming. Okay, but thank you so much, whoever. Yes, it's very
That's
important to
people.
be a naturalist if you want to be a good photographer. That's something that I've been saying for long. Okay,
100% agree with you on this.
how did you move from studying birds to herping and frogs? Mohit is asking. I think he does all of it, guys. It's like me. We do everything, anything under the sun. Is that correct, Shashank?
Everything within arm's reach is game.
Exactly.
That's
Right.
it.
Right. All of these fascinate. In the Praveen is asking in the Western Himalayas, Uttarakhand, for example, which species can be a group leader in a flock? Very good question.
Okay. So again, probably again the tips I would say the high to mid elevation. Like for example, if you are birding in spot wing tit is a classic example in conifer forest, or same thing with goes with something like let's say um, uh, I think spot wing tit will be the most common
Oh, is it?
high elevation
Wow.
species which in Western Himalayas which can form flocks.
Flocks. Okay.
Again, the bird with nasal call.
Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. True. Actually, yeah. Anish is asking,
Yeah,
Shashank, frogs, snakes, or lizards? Which one would you choose? Please say
impossible, man.
frogs.
That's it.
Please say frog. You're on
For
my
example,
show.
today just so right now I'm sharing house with Nematophis gracilis, one of
Oh,
the
is
very
it?
pretty. So there are three of them on my wall right now.
Wow, awesome. That's
So,
a
yeah, yeah.
lizard, guys. That's
So
how. That's a lizard.
tiny lizard, day
Yeah,
gecko,
day gecko. Yeah.
very
Kulnur
pretty.
is asking any information on hunting threats for Amur falcons outside Nagaland, in Somalia and other parts of Africa.
Not that we know of, actually, because I think Somalia is where they enter Africa, and then they
Okay.
go all the way south to South Africa. And South Africa is pretty much safe for Amur falcons there. So,
Correct. Correct.
which is actually so Africa actually has less amount. I think the biggest threat for them will be to cross Arabian Sea and Indian Ocean without dropping into the sea.
Correct.
That's I think will be the
Correct.
so they have to time their departure from West Coast exactly at the right wind when the wind is perfect for them.
Correct. Correct.
I think that is the biggest threat.
Right.
I would say.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, we'll take two more questions before someone's asking how to take dangerous photos by using your camera, buddy. Just use your camera. Okay, tiger is the topmost predator in Indian wildlife and food chain. Which is the topmost predator in bird category?
Wow. Lots of birds of prey, plenty.
Yeah.
So if you are in a grassland, there will be short-toed eagle. In the forest, there will be serpent eagle.
Correct.
If you are in So basically, different place. Like we are in the evergreen forest, it will be black eagle.
Right.
So it's again bird of prey. Just like the food chain works in mammals, it works in birds as
Right.
well.
Correct.
And all these birds of prey are the so different habitat and different kinds of forests will have a different kinds of predator. Like
Right.
for just like a mammal, for
Correct.
the grassland, there will be wolf.
Right.
If in the forest, it will be tiger. So if it's in the Gujarat, it will be lion. So, but it will change depending on the landscape you're in.
Correct, correct. Venkatesh TS has a question. I'm not very clear. He's asked two questions. How different is Nilgiris compared to the north and the east? I'm not.
Nilgiris, you
Yeah,
think like the Western Ghats?
yeah, yeah. I'm assuming. I didn't get the question. Sorry, but he also has a second
Okay.
question. Do you get the? You get the
Mm-hmm.
question? Please answer. I don't know what's the difference between
Okay. So,
Nilgiris compared to north and east.
I'm assuming that the Nilgiris in the sense in Western Ghats and how Western Ghats are different compared to Northeast India. So there are certain species which might be there common between Northeast India and Western Ghats, but Western Ghats also has lots of endemics.
Right,
Endemics in the sense the birds which are found only in Western Ghats and nowhere else.
right.
And some of these birds are found in the low elevation and mid elevation,
Correct.
which are and some of them are found only in the high elevation Shola forest of Western Ghats.
Okay, okay.
And that's how the Nilgiris and these places are completely different compared to Northeast India.
Correct,
But
correct.
these birds are not found anywhere else. I think that
Sure.
hopefully I've answered that question.
Yes,
I don't
yes.
know.
Yeah, yeah. He said that is what his question was.
Okay,
He
good.
quickly replied. His second question was, as you said, you found different DNA between eagle nest and Nagaland birds. Does this
Mm-hmm.
mean that the same species could be territorial and hence there are different DNA?
So basically, the birds have territories. So certain birds from so it's like a basically more than territory.
Hmm.
What driving things are the populations. The
Right,
populations are so individual between the same species and the different populations are unable to move between these
right.
places.
Correct.
So there might be plenty of golden babblers in Eagle Nest. There might be plenty of golden babblers in Nagaland.
Right,
But these golden babblers from Eagle Nest are unable to get to Nagaland, and then
right.
Nagaland birds are unable to get to Eagle Nest. And
Right.
that's why the genetic
Sure,
structure is different between these two
sure,
places.
sure.
That's the simplest way to put it.
Right, right. Second last question again, Anish. He says three things that birders should do to start influencing conservation on the ground. Birders, bird
Oh,
photographers,
okay.
whoever. Yeah.
Okay, so first thing is that it's not only just looking at birds and getting pretty pictures, also figuring out what all are the different kinds of threads which are there for the birds in different parts.
Right,
So if you are photographing birds, try and look out for these things as well.
right,
Bees always try and see if you can keep a common bird common. In the
right.
sense, try and see if there are red-winged bulbul in certain areas.
Correct.
Make sure the red-winged bulbuls are still common in those areas rather than
Right,
they are getting rarer.
right,
That's the first indication of birds, which say, and basically try and monitor and keep the numbers in check
right.
while you are photographing or while you are looking at birds.
Correct.
Make sure that the birds are still common.
Right,
And third thing is to try and see if you can raise your voice or raise your thing, try and influence. See, I would say, the lots of birds which are actually protected because of protected areas, but there are
right.
certain birds which are outside protected
Outside
areas as
protected
well.
areas, correct.
But most of them are protected in that sense.
Right,
But try and see if the numbers are, that's very crucial.
right,
If the numbers are dropping anywhere, that
right.
means there's something going wrong in that place, and then you should
Correct.
try and investigate.
Right,
And
right.
always keep your eyes open for the threats which are
Sure,
in
sure.
different parts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's well said. Thank you so much, Shashank. Thank you so much for taking time out. It
Thanks,
was
Sachin.
wonderful to
Thanks,
chat with
everyone.
you. There were way too many questions. I had written a lot more questions. Unfortunately, I couldn't take time to ask you out. Maybe we
Maybe
can
we
do
can
this
discuss them
again
later
sometime.
sometime.
But
Yeah.
thank you so much. Yeah, you have a great time and
Thanks,
be safe.
Sachin.
Yeah, thank you.
Same here.
Thank you all for joining in.
Bye.
Thank you so much. We shall catch up with you later sometime. Yeah. Thank you, guys. I'll just end
Okay.
the session.
Okay.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.